So far, we've covered the disruption of the West African civilization and how this civilization, these people become a diaspora, spread throughout the world, throughout South America, and the Caribbean. But then the question that comes to rise is to, after emancipation of slavery and after the civil rights movement, what was happening in Britain? Now, further amendments to the police service were made after the murder of Stephen Lawrence in Eltham in April 1993. Stephen Lawrence was an 18-year-old aspiring architect, and he fell victim to a racist attack and was stabbed with a blade at least 5 inches long in the chest and the shoulder. He died shortly after. The police, on arrival, assumed that Stephen Lawrence was a victim of gang violence and interrogated his friend, assuming that he was also a gang member. The lack of care in handling Stephen's case led to contamination of evidence and failure to indict Gary Dobson, David Norris and their accomplices. Stephen's murderers had got away with killing a teenager because of the failure of the police to value black life. The police were deemed as being institutionally racist, and measures were brought in to reduce racial bias. Later, legislation was passed for cases to be reopened if there was sufficient evidence to do so, and there was. David Norris and Gary Dobson were later sentenced and sent to jail for murder. Gary Dobson was 17 years old when he killed Stephen Lawrence. As well as that, previous to this time, about 12 years before this time, we had the New Cross fires, which is where 13 young boys and girls were burnt to death in New Cross, and this is after weeks or months of the residents and the black residents of New Cross being sent racially abusive, threatening letters. The police did nothing. The young children were burnt to death in their home at a birthday party, and after that no action was taken by the police to pursue these arsonists. A couple of years later, we have the Brixton riots. Now, my task to you is, why do you think a child would kill another human being based on their race? Are people innately racist, or is this taught? Where would a child learn to be racist? I want you to consider each point very specifically. Think about why someone might become racist, and if you have that, then you know how to create a society that can become anti-racist, i.e. to heal these wounds of 500 to 600 years of imperialism. Feel free to discuss as a class, and if you're ready, after the teacher's guidance, we can continue with the presentation.